What would you do if you discovered an ancient text buried for more than 1600 years, bearing a truth that challenges everything you believe? This is the purpose of the Secret Book of John, a manuscript found in 1945 in the Nag Hammadi texts in Egypt. It reveals something deeply disturbing. The world we live in is not just imperfect, but a trap designed to blind us to our true essence. This narrative, hidden for centuries, was condemned as dangerous because it questioned the foundation of traditional religious beliefs. According to this text, the reality we are immersed in is not the supreme creation of a benevolent God, but the product of a chaotic and defective force. Before everything existed, according to the Gnostics, there was only the One, an unlimited, pure, and immeasurable cosmic energy. It was not a God in the traditional sense, but a presence beyond human comprehension, like a vast ocean of light that contained everything and nothing at the same time. This perfect origin, however, was interrupted by a mistake made by the universal wisdom, Sophia. Sophia, according to the narrative, acted without balance, trying to create something on her own. This act gave rise to Yaldabaoth, an imperfect being who came to rule the material world. He built a reality to imprison souls, preventing them from realizing their true connection with the original divine light. Thus, our world has become a kind of spiritual trap, a place where the majority remain unaware of their infinite potential. The Gnostics saw this conflict as part of a cosmic duality. Unlike mainstream religions, which interpret the battle between good and evil as an ultimate war, the Gnostics believed that even darkness had its origin in the One. For them, the universe was made up of light and shadows, knowledge and ignorance, spirituality and materialism coexisting as reflections of the same source. In this context, Yaldabaoth was not just an external enemy, but the symbol of the illusions that keep us trapped. He would make us forget who we really are, using fear and attachment to the material world as tools. However, according to the Gnostics, every human being carries a spark of that original light within them, a divine spark that, if recognized, can break the chains of ignorance. This narrative is an invitation to introspection. It suggests that there is more to life than what we perceive with our senses. That feeling that there is something greater, that we belong to a higher reality, resonates like an echo of the hidden truths that John's secret book tries to reveal. It's a reminder that perhaps the reality we experience is only a superficial layer, hiding a universe of infinite possibilities. The Gnostics emphasized that the key to escaping this illusion lies in gnosis, i.e., deep spiritual knowledge. For them, this state of consciousness is what frees us from the prison of materialism and connects us to the true divine essence. This awakening is not something that can be imposed or taught directly, but rather a personal discovery, which occurs when someone allows themselves to look beyond the surface and explore the depths of their soul. In this sense, the story presented in the Secret Book of John is more than a spiritual allegory. It is a call to question the nature of reality, break out of imposed limitations, and discover what we really are. According to the Gnostics, until we awaken to this truth, we will continue to be trapped in a cycle of deception, stuck in a reality that does not reflect the totality of our being. For them, the duality we face, light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance, is a reflection of the imbalance created by Sophia, but also an opportunity for transcendence. Recognizing our connection with the One is the key to overcoming this division and achieving spiritual fullness. The struggle is not only external, but also internal, requiring the courage to challenge what we have been taught and seek the truth that resides within us. This perspective is both challenging and inspiring. It reminds us that reality is not necessarily what we see, but what we choose to perceive and understand. Each of us carries a spark of that original light, hidden beneath the illusions that surround us. This divine spark, according to what the secret book of John reveals, can be the key to breaking the chains of materialism and rediscovering our true essence. And there is knowledge that broadens this perspective. The e-book, The Forbidden Name of Jesus. It brings forgotten truths to light, offering a path for those who seek to understand more deeply the connection between the spiritual and the divine. You can find it in the first fixed comment as a gift to expand your spiritual journey. Seeing the world as it really is, rather than just as it seems, is the essence of the narrative in John's secret book. In it, Yaldabaoth, the creator of the material world, is presented as a master of illusions, a manipulator who uses distractions and tricks to hide the true essence of existence. He acts as an artisan of deception, creating a reality where souls remain blind to the fact that they have a divine spark within them. Imagine this condition as being permanently limited by blinders, which direct the focus only to the superficiality of everyday life, while the greater truth remains out of reach. According to the Gnostics, it is through gnosis, deep spiritual knowledge, that a person can finally remove these blinders and see beyond the veil of illusions. From there, one discovers that the rules, limits, and apparent structure of this world are actually part of a mechanism designed to trap souls in ignorance. For the Gnostics, awakening to this higher reality was like emerging from a deep sleep and realizing that existence goes beyond the material. They believed that everyone is part of a divine whole, a spark of that primordial light that existed before the shadow world was created. This understanding not only challenged traditional beliefs, but also posed a direct threat to the power of the religions that dominated the spiritual narrative. Mainstream Christianity, for example, was seen by the Gnostics as excessively focused on the veneration of an external God. This approach, according to them, ignored the divine potential within each individual. The Gnostics' insistence that the true spiritual quest should be internal, not external, led to them being labeled as heretics. They rejected the idea that answers should be sought in temples or under the authority of religious leaders. On the contrary, they taught that these answers lay within each human being, waiting to be discovered. This search, however, was not simple. To reach the truth, it was necessary to peel back the layers of reality one by one until reaching the core where the divine essence resides. This process of spiritual discovery required effort and courage, as it directly confronted the illusions imposed by Yaldabaoth, who had established himself as ruler of this world on the basis of ignorance and arrogance. The Gnostic narrative describes Yaldabaoth as a tyrannical ruler, desperate for control, who presents himself as the supreme source of authority. His origin, however, is the result of a cosmic error. Created without balance by Sophia, a universal force of wisdom, he emerges as a rebellious figure who defies the original cosmic order. His arrogance leads him to deceive humanity into believing that he is the true God, while hiding his own flaws and imperfect origins. This image of Yaldabaoth as a despot who takes the throne by force serves as a powerful metaphor for the systems of power in human history. For the Gnostics, this narrative was not just a mythological story, but a representation of how people, both past and present, accept authority structures without questioning them. Mainstream religion, particularly the early Christian church, was seen as an instrument to keep people spiritually imprisoned, emphasizing obedience and acceptance rather than self-knowledge and exploration. Sophia's story, however, offers a glimpse of resistance. Although her actions led to the emergence of Yaldabaoth, They also planted the seeds of dissent. Her act of creating without permission, although considered a mistake, symbolizes a challenge to established authority. For the Gnostics, this gesture reflected the human power to question imposed reality and seek a deeper truth. This conflict between control and defiance, between blind obedience and the desire for liberation, is not restricted to ancient texts. It echoes throughout history in episodes where people rose up against oppressive systems and misleading beliefs. Just as Sophia went against cosmic rules, human resistance movements have emerged at various times to challenge authority and claim freedom. The key to awakening your divine spark is within your reach. Units of the ebook, The Forbidden Name of Jesus, are limited and may run out at any time. Get yours now. The central message of the Gnostics is clear. Spiritual liberation begins with the rejection of imposed illusions. It requires people to look inside themselves, recognize their connection to the divine, and refuse to passively accept the structures that keep them in chains. Throughout history, conflicts between authority and resistance have marked human narratives. From ancient revolts against tyrannical monarchs to contemporary movements for equality and social justice, this tension has shaped humanity. The Gnostics, with their profound and often controversial vision, warned that challenging established systems of power was not a simple task. They knew that those who dared to question the norms could face isolation, repression, and even punishment. Even so, they considered this a necessary risk for those seeking true liberation. Breaking with prevailing beliefs was not just an act of courage. It was, according to the Gnostics, the only way to see the hidden truths behind the layers of social and spiritual conventions. Passively accepting the imposed rules was tantamount to imprisoning oneself in a limited existence. For them, the path to freedom lay in rejecting these structures and norms, which often do not have the best interests of the individual in mind, but rather the interests of those who exercise control. This rejection was more than just a challenge. It was a declaration of spiritual autonomy. Gnostic rebellion was a search for the divine, a refusal to accept a lower reality when it was known that a higher truth was possible. In this act of subversion, each person could trace their own path back to their divine origin, transcending the limitations imposed by the material world. At the heart of Gnostic thought is the concept of the One, or monad, which represents the source of everything. This supreme principle is not a divine figure in the traditional sense, but a primordial, infinite and formless energy from which everything radiates. It is like the sun, whose light sustains and connects everything around it. The One is not limited by human or physical characteristics. It is universal consciousness and the basis of all existence, including the shadows that try to obscure its light. Within this narrative, Sophia occupies a crucial role. She represents the divine mind's desire to explore and create, even if it means deviating from the perfect balance. Her act of creating without permission is not just a mistake, but a metaphor for human curiosity and the desire to go beyond. However, this departure from unity brought consequences, resulting in the emergence of Yaldabaoth, a symbol of the separation between knowledge and understanding. He is the result of Sophia's disconnection from the divine source and personifies ignorance and deception. Yaldabaoth, far from being just a mythological villain, is a deeper representation of everything that keeps us away from our true nature. He symbolizes the ignorance that obscures the light, like a fog that hides the sun. The material world it rules is described as full of distractions and illusions, designed to make us forget our connection with the divine. These distractions are the forces that convince us that the physical world is all there is, distancing us from recognizing our spiritual essence. However, the Gnostics believed that even in the midst of darkness, the light never completely disappears. For them, light was more than a physical manifestation. It was the symbol of knowledge and enlightenment. This light represents the pure awareness and clarity that arise when illusion is dispelled. In Gnostic texts, beings made of light and illuminated realms are metaphors for elevated states of consciousness, where the true nature of being is revealed. Discover what has been hidden for centuries and connect with your true essence. The ebook, The Forbidden Name of Jesus, is available for a limited time. Don't miss this opportunity. Gnostic stories and symbols such as the One, Sophia, Yaldabaoth, and the Light were carefully crafted to convey profound spiritual truths. The Gnostics knew that these ideas were subversive and could be misinterpreted or rejected by the masses. That's why they used metaphors and narratives that required effort and reflection to understand. Only those who truly sought hidden knowledge would be able to decipher their meanings. Light, in particular, was central to their philosophy. More than a physical phenomenon, it symbolized spiritual awakening, the ability to see beyond appearances and access the truth that resides at the core of every being. When the Gnostics spoke of realms of light or enlightened beings, they were referring to a state of consciousness where the illusions of the material world disappear, revealing the intrinsic connection with the divine. This journey of self-discovery and enlightenment required courage, as it was necessary to confront the forces that kept souls trapped in illusions. For the Gnostics, these forces were not only external, but also internal, represented by our fears, doubts, and attachments to the physical world. Overcoming these barriers was the ultimate goal, allowing the soul to rediscover its origin in the light of the One and transcend the limited reality of Yaldabaoth. For the Gnostics, light was both the path and the destination, a reminder that even in the midst of shadows, the divine essence never ceases to shine. It is the most powerful symbol of awakening, of discovering the truth about our essence and the universe around us. On the other hand, the material world, with its daily routine and constant distractions, was seen as a carefully crafted prison. This prison is not limited to physical barriers, but also extends to the invisible shackles of the mind, the limitations imposed by conformism and attachment to what is tangible. Daily life, with its repetitions and incessant desires, often traps people in a cycle of superficiality. These cycles blind people to the deeper dimensions of existence. For the Gnostics, the key to breaking these chains lay in gnosis, the secret knowledge that revealed the true nature of reality. This knowledge was capable of uncovering the divine spark that resides in each of us, a reminder of our connection with the pure and luminous origin of everything. Within this context, all the Gnostic symbols come together to tell a story that transcends time and space. This story is not just about ancient gods or cosmic conflicts, but reflects the inner journey of the human mind. It is an allegory about the awakening of the individual to a broader understanding of himself and the universe. Like a traveler awakening from a deep dream, the Gnostic message invites us to realize that what we see and touch is not all there is. This awakening leads us to an essential truth. Behind the facade of everyday life, there is a deeper and more meaningful reality. It is a reality connected to the divine source that Sophia, in her narrative, longed to rediscover. Understanding Gnostic symbolism is like deciphering a hidden code, a map that guides those willing to challenge appearances and break with the illusions of the physical world. When we begin to see beyond what we've been taught, the hidden meanings of these stories emerge like a ray of light in a dark room. Suddenly, what once seemed familiar takes on new shapes. The world, which seemed limited to what we can touch, see, or hear, becomes something much wider. This transformation occurs because life, according to the Gnostics, is not just about the tangible. It is a constant search for what is hidden, for what transcends appearances. This is the moment to break through illusions and access the truth. Download the ebook, The Forbidden Name of Jesus now. Units are selling out fast. Don't miss out. This vision challenges the authority of the structures that surround us, structures that often seek to keep us in the dark. The Gnostics believed that within every human being there is an untapped potential, a spark of that primordial light that can lead us to a higher understanding. But this journey of discovery requires effort. It requires the courage to open our eyes to what lies beyond the shadows and accept that what we take to be reality may only be a carefully constructed illusion. This process of awakening is compared to coming out of a dream that seemed incredibly real until the moment we finally wake up. This ancient Gnostic perspective, revolutionary in its day, remains profoundly relevant today. It provokes us to examine the world around us and explore the possibility of a deeper reality hidden beneath the surface of our everyday understanding. This narrative not only challenges our perceptions, but also encourages us to question what we have been taught. It is an invitation to dare to look beyond the obvious and discover what is hidden. According to the Gnostics, true power does not lie in passively accepting what is imposed on us, but in having the courage to uncover what is hidden in the shadows. It is in this act of searching that the deepest truths become clear, revealing themselves only to those who refuse to remain bound by the limitations of the physical world. The Gnostic message, in all its depth, reminds us that spiritual enlightenment is a process of liberation. It is not something that is given to us, but something we discover by challenging our own perceptions and allowing ourselves to be questioned. Light, in this context, is not only the end goal, but also the path that guides us back to our essence. It is a constant reminder that, even shrouded in shadows, our connection with the divine remains intact, awaiting the moment when we finally break free to shine fully. Thus, the Gnostic story continues to echo, bringing a call to break out of limitations and seek a greater truth. It suggests that the journey to enlightenment begins when we dare to see beyond what is presented to us, allowing the light within us to illuminate the path to a deeper and more transformative understanding. If you enjoyed the content and would like to support our work so that we can continue to bring you more in-depth research and analysis, please consider making a donation of $100. This contribution directly helps the channel grow and produce even richer material. Thank you very much for your support.